ukiwapatia nafasi watakupanda kichwani na mambo yako yote yataharibika. Ndio maana inabidi unawafuga kama mbuzi.
Being together is dangerous. He is my father's enemy.
Over my dead body.
You have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Good morning, and thank you so much for keeping it KBC Channel 1, exactly 7 days into the 9th month of the year 2021. Newscheck begins right now, a program that seeks to explore issues shaping conversation in the country. And the big agenda today, what we are focusing on, is the ongoing war against COVID-19 and the uptake of the vaccination exercise in the country. And of course, we'll also be delving into the politics that is shaping the road to the 2022 general elections a little bit later in the course of this broadcast. So for the first interview we are having this morning, we'll be focusing on matters COVID. But before I bring in my guest, I just want to paint a picture for you on the status so far in the country. As at yesterday, the numbers we received from the Ministry of Health is that Kenya has recorded another 258 new cases of COVID-19. This was done out of a sample size of 3,137 that were screened in the last 24 hours. That is as at yesterday. And now the figures brought the positivity rate to 8.2%. Remember, this also shows a drop in the positivity rate. We have been recording a positivity rate of above 10% for quite a long time. But beginning, I believe, the last 2 or 3 days, we have been reporting a positivity rate of below 10%. And the latest statistics by the Ministry of Health also showed that 9 more people died because of COVID-19, and these numbers were obtained from late audits conducted in the month of September, meaning that as at now, a total of 4,795 people have succumbed to COVID-19. If you look at the global numbers, not so promising as well. Over 220 million cases have been reported, with the number of those who have died standing at slightly over 4.5 million. So it's not a very good picture, in as much as we're making progress, in as much as in certain areas we've improved, especially in the uptake of the vaccination exercise. And we just want to dissect, the situation and understand where we are as a country, and also what we need to do so that as many people as possible are vaccinated. And joining me in studio to do this, we'll be doing this a little bit differently. Today we want to wear the shoe of somebody who has been there. He has actually battled COVID-19 head on. I'm talking about Elijah King Naini. Elijah is a community leader from Kajiado County. Thank you so much for creating time for us.
My pleasure.
All right, so Elijah, I want to start very, from where it all began, your experience with COVID-19. Most of us just hear about it and have interacted with it through information, through research, through what we hear from case studies like yourself. But we just want to understand from somebody who has worn that shoe, COVID-19. Tell us a little bit about your journey with COVID-19. When were you diagnosed, and, just what was happening?
Okay. This is, I must say that this pandemic that has traveled all over globally has affected all families in the world, even to the smallest villages where we come from. And I can tell you that when I was diagnosed for COVID, I wasn't expecting to get COVID. I was just living just like my normal being, and 4 months when I have heard about the breakout of COVID, it was news, and we could just watch in the news that there is someone with COVID, and these are people we don't know. So at times we even thought that the government was trying to solicit funds globally. So and all kind of narratives were flying here and there. But now I got COVID.
So this was just news until it knocked at your door.
Hit me.
Yeah.
And when I first got COVID, of course I knew the symptoms, and so I just had a slight sore throat and then some dry cough. That was around the first week of March. So I because of the precautions, I decided to go to the hospital. Ideally, I never used to go to hospital for coughing and that kind of thing. But now, because of all these advertisement and everything, and everybody is talking about COVID, I decided to go to hospital. I got my temperature checked. I had all my smell test. So ideally, there was nothing serious. I just realized that it's just a small thing that will pass. So I was given some medication from a doctor, my friend Dr. Corel in Kimana. So, and I am a hard worker, so I used to work so hard. So after I got the medication, I continued with my work. 1 week later, this cough was not leaving, and in fact, it was increasing. So
you didn't get a COVID-19 test?
I didn't because when they did the temperature, it was okay, and then I had my test, my smell, and we just thought that it's just a mere cough. So we never did any test. But as a precautionary measure, I asked the doctor to give me those medication to prevent the COVID-19, the supplements for vitamin
C,
to boost my immune, but I just did it out of precautions. Then around the 10th there, I just felt like I started having fatigue, and I just thought that this fatigue is not leaving. It's 3 days of fatigue. I just thought that I needed to take a break for a week to go rest. We've been having a whole month of distribution and subdivision of land back at Orgulwi Group Ranch, where I work. So I came to Nairobi, and I just felt like there was something on my back. It was not leaving. So then when I arrived, I thought that I should just go and get more medication. I just thought that probably the antibiotics that I was given were not working. So I went to Langata Hospital. There I explained to the doctor that I was given some medication, but it looks like it's not working for me. The temperature was still okay. I have not lost any taste, or I was just normal.
But you're feeling funny.
I was feeling fatigued.
You're different. You feel your system, something is
and
not
then
right.
The cough was dry. So, and I was given medication. I went back home. But now I started developing something unusual. I couldn't eat. I just then I started feeling like there's something heavy in my chest that is not just living. And then I decided to go back to that hospital, and I just thought that probably I need something stronger
than what you were given.
Yes.
So this time you can't. You've lost appetite.
Now I started feeling like I don't have appetite. So, and I started having some confusion whether, am I really having a test or not? Is the smell there or not? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I went back to that hospital, and thank God I found a very good doctor. After explaining myself, but I also think that because they did my oxygen levels, they never told me what number was it. But when they sent me to the doctor first kept a distance. So that was started.
That one was like a red flag already.
Yeah, it is a red flag. And then he asked me that when I explained, then he told me this is a typical symptom of a COVID-19. He told me, I'm going to recommend you to go do a test at Nairobi West Hospital. So I told him, okay, we just came out. In fact, I couldn't even drive. So I had to be driven by my wife. We went straight to Nairobi West Hospital. Now I was becoming weaker. And I could feel even walking was a bother. So we went there. I couldn't queue.
So this difference and this feeling weaker, is it because you've just found out, or you're suspecting,
well,
you're asking yourself a lot of questions at this time?
I have been having it for the last 10 days.
Okay.
But now it has developed, and it was now breaking every part of my system.
Yeah.
So by the time I was going for the test, I was extremely weak. I couldn't eat, and there is that confusion. Like, I think I don't have a taste. I think I have. I don't have a smell. I think I have. And then, but what was killing me most is the fatigue. The fatigue was just, I have never felt that kind of fatigue. So when I went there, they did a test. They said after 12 days is when you're going to, after 12 hours, you're going to get the results. I couldn't wait for the 12 hours. But now when I had a friend of mine, and Kasaine and my wife, they convinced me that we can just go home and then we wait for the results. We don't need to see a doctor when we don't have the results. So I was convinced. I went back home. I slept, and when I woke up at 6 in the morning, I had was sent an email that you have tested positive.
So you know, having that confirmation, and it's now official, it's on paper.
Yes.
What were you thinking at this time, and how did your experience about COVID change? Because you initially were saying it was all about what we see in the news, the numbers are read in the news. It was far off from your surrounding. Now it's within your system. How do you feel at this time?
At that time, it didn't shock me at that time until I got to the hospital. So because I was just having this feeling that I can just get myself treated at home and that's it. So I decided that I should go to Nairobi West Hospital where they diagnosed, so that they can give me the proper medication, and then I can just come and rest at home and do the thing until it gets out. So when I went to the hospital, I just went through the screening, and then that was the first time that I was told of my oxygen levels. My oxygen levels had dropped to 62.
62?
62. So when the nurse did it, he looked at me, and then she asked me, how are you feeling? I told her I'm okay. So then they looked at each other. There were two of them. Then the other one told her, can you do it again? So they did it, and it was still 62. So, and like there was some confusion, and then she was telling me, you're supposed to have collapsed, you know. Now this is the time.
So to them, interpreting those figures, they imagine it could be at a worse position. You're saying you're okay.
Yes. So now that is when I told them, you know, I was here yesterday. You guys, you had test, and I've tested positive. I've just come to see a doctor. When they said you have COVID-19, I said yes, but it's you guys who have done this thing. So now when I told them like that, now they knew what is happening. So they told me, they hurried me into a room and gave me oxygen. So, and they were holding at me. So that was the time I realized I am on some serious problem
like
here.
this is not, it's no longer a joke.
Yeah, it's not
In
a
fact,
joke.
just telling you the words, you should have collapsed.
Yes.
You know?
So now when they gave me the oxygen, I felt some kind of relief. So then I realized I am really in big shit. So I told, then I told the doctor, you know, this one is for straight to it needs to be admitted. So I was admitted, and I was taken straight to the HDU. And the first day I get there, just few minutes, somebody just dies, and then
you say about 9 people?
Actually,
about 9 died while you were in hospital?
11 people
11
died.
people died
Out
while you
of
were in
the
hospital.
8 days I was in HDU. And I can say that I have never had such a horrible experience like that. In fact, on the 3rd day, 4th day there, I requested the doctor that I need to be transferred out of this place because the death that I was witnessing was it was horrible.
Were you seeing it so
I was
close?
seeing. In fact, one of the neighbors there was were just chatting, and then just a day later, she passed on. God rest her soul in peace. And then now I started talking to myself like, I think I'm the next one.
It's like one foot is on the grave.
Yeah.
You know, for them who've not experienced that near-death experience,
Yeah.
how do you describe it? You know, you just one foot, you know,
Yes.
to it. I mean, what were you thinking during this time? Even just looking at your life,
Yes.
what did you learn as you were
when I
at that
was
particular
while I was
point?
there on the 5th day, there was this senior doctor that used to come every night, and he could go through. He looked at the records, and then he could just say, "This is not good. This is not good." So I was wondering what was not good. It was just that my lungs were at the near collapse. So because even with the oxygen level, it couldn't surpass 88. So and then now that was the time they decided that I should go in for a ventilator. So, and I think I really have to thank the doctor who suggested that, because on the 6th day, they put me on a ventilator for 4 good hours. And for those people who do not understand what a ventilator is some high-level pressure that is put on you. Like, it goes straight into the lungs. And it is this pressure. It is I cannot explain how the feeling is, because if you do not go with the movement of the air, you are likely going to get choked off.
You have to be in sync with how it's operating.
When the first time they put me, I tried to remove, but it's so tight, and then it was choking me, and then that was the time a nurse told me, if you could just be calm, and it will be better, because if you don't, then you're going to have a very bad time with it. So I decided to come down, and then I could just wait for the pressure to come, and then I go with the movement. And those 4 hours, they were just like all week. So, but thank God, when after they removed, is when the lungs opened up. They were closed, so they started opening up. They started going 94, 95. It did up to 99.
Wow.
And I remember the word that doctor, when he came 2 days later, he just said, this is magical. Yeah. So when he said that, then I realized I was at where I was.
It was not as
it was not good. So,
when a doctor says that, and this is somebody you're really hoping that they know they have the solution, you tend to get discouraged, and you can even be afraid of what is next for me.
Yes.
How long did it take you in the hospital, and how was your recovery journey?
It took 11 days. 11 days. I was on the 9th floor. And the way the Nairobi West Hospital is, it just have windows So when I was now recovering after the 8 days, I could just look and I could see that life is normal out there. People are just walking, there's vehicles that are moving, while I was confined and I couldn't come out. I just felt like I was in prison. So, and life was very normal for other people.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering whether they knew what was happening up here.
Behind the walls.
Yeah. I could see even people walking without masks. I could see that, and then I could see the morning coming, and I could see the vehicles, people going to work, life back, and I was envying to go back to that. And on the 11th day, that was on 26 March, that was the day when I was discharged from hospital. And when I came out, I just felt like
what was the first thing you did?
Born again.
What was the first thing you did after you left?
When I came out, my brothers were there, my sisters, and I just felt like I'm free. So I told them, we have to, you take me to a restaurant. I just need to sit down and see how normal people
live.
So they couldn't even believe when I took them to my local. And I just sat down to see how life is so different out here. I took a cup of juice and then I went home.
Wow.
And now I started beginning a recovery period of 2 months, because there's this thing that I think people should know, that once you have tested positive and you have gone through that kind of experience, you don't just recover immediately. So you have tested negative, yes, because they tested me negative twice. But even when I was back at home, I could feel pinches all over my chest, my back.
So the body still takes time to adjust.
Yeah, I just felt, I was just feeling like I'm still having this disease. But now I tested negative. So, and I had a different experience because I turned to the herbal. We turned to the Maasai herbal, which was very therapeutic.
That was during the 2 months after you had tested negative.
After I've tested, I was still feeling that I'm not okay, and I had finished all the drugs that I was given, and I was just feeling like nothing has changed. So, but after taking those Maasai herbs for 3 consecutive weeks, is when I just felt that something has just left my chest. I was as new as normal.
Right. So in terms of cost, how did this, hit?
For those 11 days, I had a bill of 800,000.
800,000.
800,000, and it is just something that many people are dying in this country because they cannot be able to afford that medication. It is expensive. Oxygen is expensive. Let nobody lie to you. Oxygen is very expensive.
All right.
But if you want to get the proper medication, now you'll have to feel the financial pinch.
I'm hearing you talk, and I'm getting so many things in your story. First of all, the cost, how many Kenyans can be able to afford.
Yes.
I'm also looking at how many Kenyans are empowered enough in terms of information to even identify these signs.
Yes.
How many of them can access hospitals that have the right personnel that can tell and read these red flags. Many people still struggle to access these health facilities. The ones you can access, especially in the rural areas, it may be difficult to see this as a COVID-19 case. So how many Kenyans are still at risk? Those are some of the questions that are flowing in my mind as you are sharing your story. But thank you also for just taking us through that journey. I believe it's also therapeutic for you to go back to that moment. You're now driving a different kind of a campaign. It's not the usual campaign we are used to. Your campaign is centered around what you went through in your journey and experience with COVID-19, and just trying to ensure that nobody walks that path. We'll be talking about that in a bit. I'm talking about vaccination and just understanding the COVID-19 pandemic. But I want us now to just listen to what some of the officials from the Ministry of Health have to say with regards to the ongoing vaccination program in the country. And as at yesterday, this is what the Health Chief Administrative Secretary, Dr. Rashid Aman, said about the vaccination exercise. He said that no type of COVID-19 vaccine is inferior to the other, because there has been concerns that some go and they demand that they want a particular brand of a vaccine. They are not comfortable with this. He said that all the vaccines that are available in the country have a similar efficacy and have been certified by the World Health Organization. And of course, we also had another concern about how many people are taking this particular jab. And we just want to listen into we will be listening to some of those, we will be listening to some of those sound bites later on in the course of this particular interview. But I just want us to also look at a survey that has been done by Infotrack concerning the health sector. Let's just look at that, and then we will be coming back to this conversation.
60 million registered members, and private health insurance covers just about 2.4% of the insurable population of Kenya. That is both the policyholders and beneficiaries. And we must note that private health insurance is usually, most instances, a function of having policyholders who are mostly formally employed or covered by, sponsored by group medical schemes that is offered by their employer. Now, 44% of Kenyans, according to the survey, spend under 10,000 shillings annually on healthcare for themselves and their extended families. 15% spend between 10,001 shillings and 20,000 shillings. 10% spend between 20,001 shillings and 40,000 shillings. 7% spend between 40,001 and 70,000 shillings. 2% spend between 70,001 and 100,000 shillings. And very few spend between over 100,001 and over 250,000 Kenya shillings. What is interesting there is that just 19% indicated that they have health insurance that covers them and their extended family. So that is just about 1 out of 5 every Kenyans who have health insurance that covers them and their dependents. So what is spent annually on healthcare, by socioeconomic group? We see that for those who are spending under 10,000 shillings, 47% of those in the lower income bracket spend under 10,000 Kenya shillings annually on healthcare. And in terms of those now who have health insurance, you see very clearly there that 37% of those in the upper income bracket have health insurance that covers them and their extended family. 27% of those in the middle income bracket have health insurance that covers them and the extended family, and just 15% of those in the low income bracket have health insurance that covers them and the extended family. So you can see, the dichotomy, in terms of the spend by the lower income group, and then those who are able to, access health insurance. Probably for their employer, from their own, personal initiative. But this is telling, and it should give us pause as to the state of healthcare in our country at the moment. But then, there's also the question of double taxation, because we all know that the right to healthcare is actually is a constitutional right. It is embedded in our constitution. The Constitution, I think, refers to affordable healthcare. That would be healthcare that is affordable to everyone. And we do know that in terms of the budget statement that was released this year, about the government set aside about 121 billion to cover health. Now, if you take the average spend by Kenyans on health, if you take 10,000 shillings as the lower limit, you will find that as a country, as adult Kenyans, we are spending about 112 billion on healthcare, which is 93% of the budget set aside by the government. So, quite clearly there's a question there of double taxation. There's money set aside by the government, but we still have to dip into our pockets to sustain our healthcare needs, which should not happen. Now, in terms of management of the COVID-19 pandemic, is the COVID-19 pandemic increasing? About 44% of Kenyans seem to believe that the pandemic is, infection rates are indeed increasing. 31% believe that they are decreasing. 14% believe that they are neither increasing nor decreasing, and 11% do not know. Sorry, I'll take you back just a minute. There's something I need to mention here. There's the NHIF Amendment Bill 2021, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. The NHIF Amendment Bill proposes to make contributions compulsory for every adult Kenyan at the rate of about 500 shillings per month, which would be about 6,000 shillings annually. So if you were to take the current number of adult Kenyans that we have currently, and just use that as your baseline, what we then see is that government, should the bill be passed, government will be collecting at least 154 billion annually through NHIF, which is meant to bring reality to the universal health coverage scheme. There are concerns about this. There are concerns because while we know NHIF, there is that perception that perhaps the money is not, that the scheme, the health insurance scheme, perhaps the hospital insurance scheme is not run properly, and there are questions of how the money collected currently is used. So there are those concerns. And we do know that in terms of the amendment bill, the Association of Kenya Insurers and the Central Organization of Trade Unions have also expressed their reservations about this NHIF amendment bill.
All right, that is Walter Nyakundi of InfoTrack. This particular morning at Hilton Hotel, they are launching the Kenya's public sector healthcare system report. And according to the report, they are saying that the health system is in deep crisis. A lot of issues they're discussing there, including just how to ensure that Kenyans have access to healthcare and how to make it affordable for all Kenyans, and how even the COVID-19 pandemic is proving to be quite a challenge in this sector. We are going to be getting more details from Beatrice Gatonyi. She's at this particular forum and will be giving us a clear picture on what is happening. But in studio, we have been talking about the war against COVID-19. I've been engaging Elijah Kin Naini. He's a community leader from Kajiado County. But most importantly, the reason we have him here is because he himself is a survivor of COVID-19 and has now turned into an advocate and a campaigner against this particular pandemic, and he is currently conducting a campaign to just create more awareness and encourage as many Kenyans as possible to get vaccinated. So that is where we had gotten to. But before I allow you to just tell me more about this campaign, I just want us to quickly listen in to what the Health Chief Administrative Secretary, Dr. Rashid Aman, and the national, the head of the National COVID-19 Vaccine Task Force, Willis Akwale, also said about the plans by the government to sort of expand the priority groups for this vaccination exercise. Let's listen into that, and then we'll come back and climax this conversation.
In the country is very encouraging, as the majority of Kenyans have responded well to our call to come out and get vaccinated. At the rate at which we are moving, and pending no supply problems or constraints, we expect to attain the 10 million target set by His Excellency the President that we must achieve by December of this year, and that no vaccine is superior to the other when it comes to prevention of severe corona disease and prevention of death. Therefore, we urge all Kenyans, when going out for vaccination, that we shall not be emphasizing on the brand names, but rather ensuring that every eligible Kenyan gets vaccinated against COVID-19.
Our recommendation is that vaccines will be allocated to a facility. When you go to that facility, the vaccine that you get is a quality assured vaccine and it will protect you. People living with disability is now a distinct priority group, as well as people who have underlying medical conditions above the age of 18.
All right, so there is no cherry picking when it comes to vaccines. The vaccine that you have at your disposal, that is the best that you have. That's the message they are sending. They are very clear message. But Elijah, you are currently also just conducting an awareness campaign on the uptake of this vaccination exercise. What inspired you to get into this?
After the horrible experience that I went through, I decided to start a campaign after taking my jab, that I need to sensitize and mobilize the people of Loitoktok to take the test. I started right at the village where I come from. I started with my own father, who was resistant. It took time for me to start succeeding in this campaign, because he refused to take the jab for 6 good months. And the people right at our neighbors and the villages, they were saying, if your dad is not taking, then we cannot take it. So the day I managed to convince him is when he was joined by over 50, 60-year-old and above. And I provided transport for them into the nearby vaccination center, which is about 30 kilometers away, and I took the vaccine, and this is an initiative dubbed the Bazoo Caravan. The Bazoo is a name that have been nicknamed by the youth down there in Loitoktok. So we started a campaign, the Bazoo Caravan, sensitizing it, and it's a symbolic name to move from one town to the other. And on the 31st, we did 70 kilometers, all the way from Rombo, Ndarara, Ilasit, Ngama, Loitoktok, up to Kimana, with a roadshow telling the people that they need to go out there and get the vaccine. So this campaign is not stopping. We will continue. We are not going to relent. We will continue until every single person is vaccinated in Kajiado South.
Yeah, so during these road shows, what do you do exactly? Do you have like people going into door to door? What happens?
During this campaign, we prepare pamphlets telling people on how you can you can stay away from COVID and the importance of taking the COVID-19 vaccine. And then, of course, we are also issuing the masks. And we are going around telling them, and during this time, when we stop in a town, we have like 20 of them going into every shop, talking to the people within, and telling them, you know, you need to wash your hands, you need to keep distance, you need to go for vaccine, this is where you're going to get a vaccine, you know, that kind of thing. And we have a personal engagement with the community out there, and it has brought a positive change, because after 1 month of campaign, we have seen that there are queues in Loitoktok hospital, people coming to take the jab. Yes.
So the information is actually getting home.
It is.
You talked about 30 kilometers away. That's quite a distance.
That is just the smallest distance from Murutot Mesigio coming to Loitoktok. But there are people who live the farthest end, Jokini, who lives at the Chulu Hills down there at Lengisim. Those areas are 70 kilometers away.
So does it then bring out the challenge in terms of access?
There is a challenge of accessibility. Of course, this is a major challenge, and because in the whole constituency, we only used to have one center. And thank God the government increased one more. Now we have 2 centers in the whole of Kajiado South. And this problem of people going there to get these vaccines is a major challenge, because people who live in the villages, they do not have means to go there. And that is why the Bazoo Caravan is providing transport for those people to be transported from their local villages up into the centers, so that they can be able to get a COVID-19 vaccine.
As we wrap up this conversation to pave way for the second interview, the government is targeting that as about 10 million Kenyans will be vaccinated by December this year.
Yes.
What do you think will make this achievable? What do they need to do different for us to achieve this target as a country?
What the government need to do is to increase the centers, vaccination centers, and they need to decentralize it down into the villages. We need to set these centers at the village level. Every single ward in this country must have a vaccination center for the government to achieve the objective of doing 10 million Kenyans by December. Because if I will make a judgment based on the two vaccination centers in one constituency, then I can say that will be a tall order to achieve.
Thank you so much for your time, Elijah.
My pleasure.
Any final remarks?
Any final remarks is that I would like to tell the people of Loitoktok that this campaign is not stopping. We are going to every ward, every village, and I will be so happy that if we can be able to partner with other leaders, and this is something that should be replicated in the country, that everybody must come out and talk about this and the importance of taking this vaccine. And once we have taken the vaccine, we will wipe out this pandemic out of the country.
And we're looking forward to that time coming. Thank you, and all the best with the Bazoo Caravan.
Thank you.
That is just playing a role in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. I've been talking to Elijah Achieng Naini. You do not want to go the same path. 800,000 within 3 weeks. I'm sure nobody has money to spend within 3 weeks. 800, almost 1 million, spending it within 3 weeks. Nobody wants to do that. And of course, also just that pain of going through COVID-19 and battling it, it's not a very easy experience from his own story. So do what you can to protect yourself and to protect those around you, so that we can all, win this war against COVID-19. Thank you so much, Elijah Achieng Naini from Kajiado County.
Thank you.
And that marks the end of our first interview. We will be crossing over to now the politics of the day. In the second part of the interview, I'll be having a sit down with Fred Okango, the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance Party, also a political analyst, Willie Kamau, who will be joining me in the second part of the interview. So do stay with us. Newscheck continues shortly.
A very short time wewe kumharibia familia yake. So jambo la kununua nyumba is not a big deal for him.
I'm not up for your stupid silly games, wakili.
Kwani ni mtoto wangu? Hata akaenda nyumba za wazee mimi sijali, ama wewe wajali? Ameenda kwa boyfriend yake. Huu wazimu wa nyumba umemchokesha.
Hawa watu ukiwapatia nafasi watakupanda kichwani na mambo yako yote yataharibika. Ndio maana inabidi unawafuga kama mbuzi.
de una forma differente, de otro modo.
If Flavia loves you, you have my blessing.
Thank you, Daddy.
Eloisa, I want to be with you until the very last moment of my life. Bravo!
Congratulations!
This year, the winner by a clear margin is this young man, Lucio Montesinos.
Bravo! I won!
I will love you, always.
Always. Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo, nunca igual al de otra gente.
Respetando tus espacios, aceptando tú los míos.
Remember the songs used to make you rock away. Those were the days when love used to reign.
Straight from my heart, sweet love turning me on.
Tomorrow is another day. As the clock keep ticking away, time is so precious, and so I say,
hey, 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 hey. So they want us to think stupid. So they want us to feel stupid.
oh, but you got what you wanted. You don't even know, man. Remember, be good to the people on your way up the ladder, 'cause you leave them on your way down. That's the way.
Dancing because it's a different side of me that's fun and you enjoy the moment. I lost my leg in the year 2020 when I was diagnosed with cancer for the second time.
Today I'm going to show you guys on how to make the perfect salad, which you can enjoy with a side of chicken or with a side of bhajia.
Today we'll be dealing with clay, and we'll be making a slipper out of clay.
Your man a bim bada bim bada bim bada bim bada bim bada 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 energy, synergy. Hey, bim bada bada like a David. Watch and go zero looking like a baby.
News, and now we want to get a little bit political and look at what is shaping the road to the 2022 general elections. A lot has been happening. We've seen the discord within the Jubilee Party getting stronger by the day, and of course we've also witnessed a lot when it comes to just preparations for the 2022 general elections. Yesterday also ODM leader Raila Odinga spoke about the BBI and what he thinks with regards to the decision by the Court of Appeal. Those are some of the issues that we will be discussing right here in studio, and I'm having two panelists with me. I have Fred Okango, who is the Secretary General of the Third Way Alliance Party, and of course we also have Willie Kamau, a political analyst. Thank you, gentlemen, for creating time for us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start with you, Willie. The last time I interacted with you, of course, online,
Yes.
you were busy
Yes.
trying to clinch the Kiamba, Member of Parliament
Yes,
seat.
yes.
Any developments?
What happened, we stepped down for the
Yeah.
UDA candidate because as much as I was running for the Member of Parliament position, I was independent, but I was supporting William Ruto's presidency. So it was an easy decision for me to step down just to make sure that UDA wins and we carry the day.
Are we stepping down even in 2022? Or?
It depends with how the MP will treat us in Kiamba, but I don't think I will run against him because he's a personal friend, he's a good guy, he's a performer, he's a brilliant leader. So we will negotiate here because once a politician, always a politician, there will be more developments in terms of negotiations on how we can work together just for the betterment of the youth of this nation and of Kiamba. And so let's see how it plays. But we will be in UDA. We might meet at the nominations. I might support him. You never know. Who knows?
It's a wait and see.
It's a wait and see, yes.
All right. Fred, also the last time we interacted, you were also very busy trying to put your house in order back in Kabondo Kasipu and talking about your budgeting and the concerns you raised about the campaign spending limits by the IEBC. Any developments? What's happening? What's new? What should we be expecting?
Serious developments. The journey has just started, and we are putting our house in order, both at the political party level. As you know, the itinerary by IBC is out. Politicians are trying to consolidate their bases. But for us, as a party, Third Alliance Kenya, we're also working very hard to ensure that we put our house in order. As you know, in the recent past, we have had numerous challenges. And we are saying that because as a party, we know the type of politics in this country, and because as a party our house has not been in order, we are trying to put our house in order so that we ensure that we get our party leader on the track, Dr. Kuro Kot. And maybe I need to take this opportunity as the opening remarks to just apologize to the people of Kenya, to the people, to our party members, and to the entire NEC for the myriads of challenges that has bedealt our party. And we want to assure them, we want to assure Dr. Kot, we want to assure the party members, we want to assure the public that we shall indeed put our house in order and face the 2022 together, stronger and better. And we do hope that Dr. Okot and team and us will come together so that we put our house in a better way. We sort the issues that have been, challenging the party, and we move forward so that we give Kenyans the dream of Third Alliance Kenya that we have always worked for.
All right. And on that note, that's how we want to start it, gentlemen. I'd just like us to look at now the road to 2022, and I'll cite something that happened yesterday, just to get a quick comment from both of you before we get into our conversation. Yesterday, there was a petition that was filed by former nominated Senator Paul Njoroge at the High Court. He is challenging the date that was set by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to have the election held on the 9th of August 2022. I believe this is also the provision in the Constitution. And according to what he was saying in his petition, is that the IEBC set the 9th of August 2022 election date when it was not properly constituted, and it did not have the requisite quorum for commissioners and not even a substantive CEO, and a lot of other issues he has raised in that petition. But he wants the High Court now to hold all decisions by the IEBC pending hearing and determination of this particular application. Any concerns about, what he is saying with regards to even, as at that time, the term of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto will not have been fully, it will not have elapsed based on the fact that we had a repeat presidential election and it sort of eat into their term. I mean, do they carry any weight, the concerns he's raising, Willie?
Let it be clear and let this be known that the elections will be on the 9th of August in 2022. And the biggest problem we have in this nation is people waking up with feelings and emotions and think that they can change the constitution based on their personal opinions. This is a law-guided decision. It is enshrined in our constitution. And so anybody who feels they can challenge the constitution and the will of the people out of their emotions, then I think those are what we call beating waters by the drums. And so
Quickly, Fred, because you want to cross over to
Serfine,
something.
the Constitution of Kenya needs also interpretation. My good friend Senator Njoroge is seeking for the interpretation. There is only one specific date in the Constitution of Kenya, in Article 101, that says that the election, the general election, shall be held on the second Tuesday of August every 5th year. That date will be on 9th next year in August. And therefore, election shall happen. However, anyone is free to seek interpretation based on the facts. The laws are guided by facts. And if Senator Njoroge presents his facts and the court agrees with him, the court shall guide. But as it is now, IEBC is preparing for election.
Right.
As it is now, we the politicians, the political parties, we are preparing for election that shall take place on the second Tuesday of August. That will be on 9th, 2022.
All right, thank you, Fred, for that. We'll be coming back to pick up this conversation, and I just want us to very quickly cross over to Afi House to catch up with something happening right now. The Health CS Mutahi Kagwe is currently just about to make an address concerning the ongoing vaccination program. He's also set to receive donations of deep freezers for vaccine storage from the Japanese government. Let's listen into that, and then we can continue with our conversation.
You will recall that we started by deploying the AstraZeneca vaccines, which requires a +2 to +8 degrees for storage and administration. This was followed by the Moderna vaccine, which is stored and transported at -20 degrees. Yesterday, we rolled out Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which requires a +2 to +8 degrees, but can be frozen and stored at -20 degrees. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, further to the Moderna vaccine, the US government has donated another 2 million doses, this time of the Pfizer vaccines. This will become the fourth type of COVID-19 vaccines to be deployed in the country. The first consignment of this donation, which we are most grateful for, will be next week. The vaccine requires storage at -70 degrees, which is described as an ultra cold chain temperature. All these different types of vaccines present different challenges to the government in as far as storage and deployment is concerned. The ministry has been making the necessary arrangements for their successful administration. We are grateful that today the government of Japan is donating some 12 ultra cold chain freezers with a storage capacity of 3 million doses. To deploy Pfizer and any other future vaccines that may require ultra cold chain temperatures will now not be a challenge at all. 3 of these freezers will be placed at the central vaccine stores in Kitengela, while the rest will be distributed to our 9 regional stores in Nairobi, Eldoret, Kisumu, Mombasa, Nakuru, Nyeri, Meru, and Kakamega. And there is also the regional store in Garissa. And I'm glad to note that UNICEF is supporting the delivery of a specialized deep freezer suitable for Garissa. We hope to receive this very soon, and we hope which will serve the interests of northeastern part of this country. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, to note that during transportation from the central regional stores, these vaccines require to be transported at -70 degrees. This will be done using specialized insulated devices known as soft boxes, which maintain ultra cold chain temperatures using dry ice. We are therefore very delighted that the United Postal Services Foundation has kindly donated that 15 soft boxes, which will enable transportation of the vaccines to the regional stores. From the regional stores, These vaccines will be transported to selected vaccination posts at temperatures of +2 to +8 degrees, as is common with other vaccines. In the deployment of Pfizer vaccines, we are aware that once thawed, they cannot be refrozen, and when stored at +2 to +8 degrees, they must be used within 28 days. This places a huge responsibility on our officers, both at the national and the county levels, to make sure that these vaccines are administered as soon as possible to avoid loss of potency. We must all take responsibility seriously, as any challenges not properly addressed could unfortunately undermine our vaccination efforts and jeopardize our objective to meet the target set by His Excellency the President of vaccinating 10 million people this year and the entire adult population by the end of next year. Ladies and gentlemen, the quality and success of our vaccination program depends on the integrity of our cold chain. Currently, the National Vaccine Store has a total of 8 cold rooms with a net capacity of 130 cubic meters for positive temperature and cold storage 2 to 8 degrees, and 2 freezer rooms with a net capacity of 14 cubic meters for negative temperature cold storage of -20 degrees. This capacity is sufficient for deployment of vaccines requiring the +2 to 8 degrees and -20 degrees of cold storage, with a quarterly vaccine delivery schedule to the national and regional vaccine stores. We must, however, recognize that about 15 million doses of vaccines used for childhood immunization also depend on this infrastructure, and hence the need to expand it. Whereas we appreciate the support we are getting from our friends, therefore, the Ministry of Health will be expanding and strengthening our cold chain facility at a cost of an additional 900 million with World Bank support. The strengthening will include the establishment of 25 new county vaccine stores, the improvement of technical capacity in 36 sub-county stores, an expansion of storage capacity at 1,177 facilities across the country. These efforts will ensure that we do not interrupt our childhood immunization program, even as we scale up our COVID-19 vaccination programs. I've often said that COVID-19 has not stopped the other diseases and has not stopped the other challenges. On the contrary, it has increased the challenge. Following the different interventions in our vaccination efforts, I'm pleased to know that we continue to make progress. So far, we are nearing 3 million doses have been administered, with over 814,000 now fully vaccinated. We have revised our deployment plan with the aim of accelerating the program so that we reach the set targets. The revised plan provides clear guidance to counties in terms of expanding vaccination posts and conducting outreaches. The plan will be shared with the counties before the end of this week so that we can open up as much activity in the counties as we can. And indeed, to open up the tourism sector, and we are heading for that season now, we now want to include the entire hotel industry staff in addition to all other frontline workers already prioritized. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let me state that we continue to be concerned with the high mortality among the elderly. This is the reason we prioritized the vaccination of persons above 58 years of age. With the improved vaccine supply, I now direct that this blockade be expanded to include all persons above 50 years of age. And in addition, and in line with the deployment plan, I also direct the immediate inclusion of all persons above 18 years old with underlying medical conditions or disabilities. As I conclude, I want to once again take this opportunity on behalf of the Kenya government and the Ministry of Health in particular to thank the government of Japan, represented here today by the ambassador, for the major support today. We are truly grateful, Your Excellency. We also cannot forget the United States government, UPS Foundation for the soft boxes, without which it would be almost impossible to transport the Pfizer vaccines. We are equally very, very grateful. As noted, this capacity enhances our deployment efforts, and we do not take it for granted. As I mentioned, this is a game changer. Without these cold chain facilities, we would not be able to deploy the Pfizer vaccines. And indeed, we would not be able to take advantage of perhaps the only, and I think is the only currently approved, the FDA has approved this for not just medical use, but has deployed it for normal use as a vaccine. So this is indeed a good day. It's a great day for Kenya, and I take this opportunity to thank all those who have participated in making this possible, our officers in the ministry who have been engaging Pfizer, the officers in the ministry who have been engaging with the Japanese embassy, and we don't lose sight of the fact that even the Kitengela facility was also supported by the Japanese government. So we are indeed very, very grateful. So at this point, I would like to invite His Excellency the Ambassador to make a few remarks, and then we hand over the facility. Please, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mutaki Kabwe, Cabinet Secretary for Health, Dr. Yalong Wallman, representative of UNICEF Kenya, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me first and foremost to express my sincere appreciation to the staff of the government of Kenya, UNICEF, and WHO. They have worked very hard and collaborated effectively, resulting in the speedy and successful procurement of the cold chain equipment. This is due to their hard work that we are now gathered here for the handing over ceremony today. To you all, I say asante sana. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the Cabinet Secretary for Health, my friend, Honorable Kadwe, who is with us today, this morning. Mr. Kadwe, actually, this is our third handing over ceremony for COVID-19 related equipment this year. Early this year, Japan donated the smart robots designed for anti-epidemic monitoring, followed by a donation of 75,000 PCR test kits to Kemri. This seamless cooperation between Japan and Kenya in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic would not be possible without your continuous leadership as we work hard in hand to combat the virus in the country. Asante ni sana, rafiki yangu.
Asante.
Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has profoundly changed our lifestyle. In the global fight against the pandemic, social distancing, masking, and quarantine became the buzzwords this year. Now we are obviously in the next stage, which is vaccination. I acknowledge that the government of Kenya has been working tirelessly since March last year to boost vaccination drives and promote confidence among the public in the effectiveness and safety of the vaccines in order to curb the virus. The cold chain storage equipment we are handing over today will support such collective efforts by the government of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, proper storage facilities and a good management system are very critical for effective distribution of the vaccines. Even though the government may secure a large number of doses, improper handling due to lack of cold chain systems or essential human resources could result in the vaccines losing their potency and expiring or becoming ineffective. Noting the importance of the administrative and the supply chain capacity, government of Japan decided to extend an emergency grant aid of over 2 million Kenya shillings through UNICEF this April. Today, I'm very much honored to announce that we have finally procured the cold chain equipment through the grant, including 12 ultra-low temperature freezers that can maintain a temperature of up to minus 86 degrees Celsius, which will be used for the storage of COVID-19 vaccines that require extremely low temperatures to maintain their efficacy. This procurement is a very timely and crucial step in the fight against the pandemic in Kenya, as the various vaccines which require specialized storage are now being introduced in the country, as mentioned by the Cabinet Secretary Kagwe. Ladies and gentlemen, a person who knows how to fish will eat for a lifetime. This is an overused phrase, but at the same time, a basic and essential idea for sustainable global cooperation. Without proper training and maintenance, all the high-tech machines may not be utilized to their full capacity, or in the worst case scenario, be left unused with nobody to operate or fix them. With this in mind, part of the 20 million Kenya shilling emergency grant will be utilized to reinforce the country's institutional capacity on operation and the maintenance of the cold chain equipment. I strongly believe that the combined cooperation for equipment and the capacity building will contribute to a wider and a safer administration of any vaccines in Kenya in the long run. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may know, the government of Japan has made efforts to ensure fair and equal deployment of vaccines doses on the global scale. In June this year, Japan co-hosted the COVAX Advanced Market Commitment Summit and showed leadership in the operationalize of the COVAX facility as an international mechanism for the procurement of vaccines. In addition, today's project is based on the Japan's global vaccine initiative called Last 1 Mile Support, which leverages our long-standing experience of medical logistics to ensure equitable access and swift distribution of vaccines around the world. Any country, any community, anybody should not be left behind. Based on this comprehensive approach, I can assure you that Japan is committed to cooperating continuously with our friend Kenya to distribute vaccines until each and every person in the country has received their full doses. Ladies and gentlemen, let's harambe for our bright future. I'm looking forward to seeing your wonderful smiles without masks sometime soon. And Santeni Sana, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr.
That is the Japanese ambassador there speaking, and the Japanese government, as we understand this morning, has just donated deep freezers for the Kenyan government to help in the storage of vaccines in the country. The health CS Mutahi Kagwe there speaking earlier, hailing this particular program by the Japanese government and even the US government in supporting Kenya in the war against COVID-19. We'll be getting more details about this in the course of the day, but in studio we are discussing the politics of the day, and I've been hosting a panel of two gentlemen. I have the Third Way Alliance Party Secretary General Fred Okango and Willie Kamau, a political analyst. And gentlemen, I just want us to delve into the latest. Yesterday we saw I believe this is the first time the Jubilee Party officially came out to speak against what has been happening between two factions within the Jubilee Party, and I just wanted to get your quick reactions about how this was handled by the party. The Secretary General Raphael Tuju yesterday came out and he was very categorical about some of the things that he feels the Deputy President has been doing, and he was accusing the DP of what he termed as political blackmail. He talked about the DP should respect the presidency and the first family, and a lot that was contained in his very long statement. I just want a general observation about how the party has handled their internal disputes so far, the accusations and counter accusations. Let me start with you, Willie.
First, we must acknowledge the fact that Jubilee Party has played a very big role in making sure that William Ruto is now the most popular presidential candidate ahead of 2022. It is on record that these people who are attacking William Ruto have hopped from one TV to the other, calling him a flower girl in the Jubilee administration. In fact, they could go as far as use very vulgar language to call him and say, what business does a flower girl has to do with the groom after the wedding is over? They say this is not an Uhuruto government, it is an Uhuru government. And so they have exonerated William Ruto from any accusation or any blame of the failure of Jubilee government. And so for them to remain relevant, they must attack William Ruto, whose popularity continues to go up and up. And so one of the things that these people have done is that during the just concluded weekend, he had a meeting in Mount Kenya, which was very successful, which I was a part of. And so it became so successful, even against having planned the goons that were planted in the various positions that he visited in Mount Kenya, turned out to support him. They were saying, we were paid to fight William Ruto, but he's our presidential candidate, we cannot fight him. They went on camera and said, we were given money. And so when these things fail against the deputy president, the party that fights him and that have fought him must come up with all manner of accusations. And so we are happy when they do that. William Ruto has weathered all these turmoils. He has been tossed from left, right and center by the same government he worked so hard to put in place, and he's okay with that.
All right.
Yes.
Willie thinks it's working for the DP. I don't know what you think, Fred.
I don't think so. You see, the deputy president was elected together with the president. And why is he a deputy president? He's a deputy president because the constitution allows him to be the principal assistant to the president. That means Dr. William Ruto should be assisting the president and his government to govern this country, and by fulfilling the expectations of the public and the manifesto of Jubilee. He has not done that. Deputy President William Ruto has political ambitions. His ambitions has come before the ambitions of ensuring that they secure the lives of Kenyans. And that's why you see he has been allegedly abandoned his duties of being the principal assistant to the president and now pursuing his ambition to become the president. What has even dented his image more is the revelation by the Interior Cabinet Secretary before the Parliamentary Committee that he is one of the most guarded state officers in this country, that he is one of the most respected state officer in this country. However, what he has done, he has tried to form a separate working
stem from the what of the government of President Kenyatta. And when you say that, a faction of Jubilee, I don't think there's a faction of Jubilee. In my understanding and observation, there's only one Jubilee, that Tuju is the Secretary General. The other team is UDA. President has called his team to order, that is Jubilee. William Ruto, the Deputy President, has said that they are in UDA. Remember, he was elected on Jubilee ticket. I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but I'm arguing from the point of observation. Every time the Deputy President has said, and he has told Kenyans that UDA shall form the next government, the Political Parties Act, Serfine, says that when you attempt to promote the ideologies of another party while you are a member of another party, when you recruit for another party while you are a member of another party, you shall be deemed to have resigned from your previous party. Today, as we speak, I am confident that Deputy President William Ruto has actually moved to UDA. It's just a matter of time. And that's why Tuju said yesterday that they will not push him to resign because he has already done it. But the fact of the matter is, what is the issue around Jubilee? We are talking about Jubilee not because Jubilee is any special, but because Jubilee is the ruling party. It's the ruling party in the sense that the Deputy President was elected on a ticket together with the President. But he has abandoned the President.
That's exactly.
So the President is struggling while him is enjoying.
Exactly.
And just a minute. When he says that during the weekend, there were goons that were organized, there is no record showing that these people were actually mobilized to boo or to stop his meeting. In fact, politicians, if they come out to claim that somebody did this, there are high chances that it is them who did that to
which
seek
still
favor.
Which still we cannot ascertain.
We
So
cannot
let's
ascertain, yes.
let's leave that
We
aside.
are not visitors in Kenya.
We all know.
We know how these things work and operate.
The reason I asked that question is it's not looking good, gentlemen. It's not,
yes.
especially for a ruling party like Fred is saying. There's just a few months left before, the term of President Uhuru Kenyatta ends, and there was this beautiful dream of the Big Four agenda, and with these few months, trying to ensure that as much is done for Kenyans as possible.
Yes.
The existing rivalry within the Jubilee Party, how is this playing out for even the common mwananchi from where you sit?
It is well orchestrated, engineered to happen as it is happening. It is not a sheer coincidence. It is a deliberate plan to stop the Deputy President of this country from ascending to power. Why is it that after 2018, after we had won the general election, it is when they started calling him all manner of names, saying you can or you have been this, and I will repeat and I will tell you that they hopped from one station to the other, saying this is not an Uhuruto government, it is a Uhuru government. In fact, I remember one of the senior persons in Jubilee asking, what business does a flower girl have to do with the groom, what he does after the wedding? You cannot be what the groom does with the wedding bed is list of your concerns as a flower girl, and so they exonerated him from any blame or failure.
In short, you're washing his hands from all this. Like he had a part.
He did not do that
in delivering the dream that the Jubilee party had when they came into power. He had a responsibility to play.
Yes.
In as much as the president also had a responsibility.
Which they exonerated him from. In fact, most of us, we had so much expectations from the Deputy President, but they made us know that he is just a flower girl in a government. And I will tell you, I will respond to something.
How is that even possible?
They were saying that it is on record. We can even pull that from
how is that even possible?
Let me finish, my brother. I gave you time to speak. Let me finish. And so what happened is the Deputy President was being sent when they were in good terms by the President to go and open projects, or rather to facilitate the opening of projects. And then they started saying this guy is becoming so popular by opening projects. And so what they made sure that every project he's facilitating is not being funded. And so they started fighting him and telling him, you're opening projects for the sake of popularity. And he's asking them, how can I facilitate for projects in government without funding? And so there was a deliberate action to make sure that he does not ascend to power. And so all these hurrabaroos of fighting him, it is because we know of where he wants to go. And the problem would be is that if he does not have a vision, he would still be a very active deputy president of this nation. If he was not heading anywhere politically, then no one would be fighting him.
But even being the deputy president is still a vision, but that's a conversation for another day. Fred, how is this even possible?
I am very disappointed that my friend here who supports the deputy president is struggling to defend him. You know why he's struggling? Because the facts are bare. The deputy president is the principal assistant to the president, and the president can allocate him assignment. That is what the constitution says. But look, he is saying that the deputy president was sent to open projects so that he can be popular. At least he's confirming that was the assertion by those people who are saying that. I don't know them. But the fact is, it is unfortunate that the president has maintained his cool. It is unfortunate that the deputy president has continued to tell Kenyans 9 years later that he still believes that he wants to deliver jobs to the youths, he wants to deliver the big four, he wants to deliver and secure lives of Kenyans, he wants to ensure that Mama Mboga and Mtu wa Mkokoteni are secured, while he had an opportunity to work with the person that they were elected with, to work with the person that they were that they promised the people of Kenya that they shall secure their lives, and he did not. You know what he did? He visioned himself in that seat or on that seat before his time came. If the deputy president humbled himself and said that it is time to deliver for the 45 million Kenyans, and the election time when it comes, I shall be judged as the deputy president by what we have delivered as Uhuruto. Today, he would be the most popular and the people would be saying, this is the next leader. But look, he abandoned the nation midway, and that's why you can see he's struggling to go back where they started, to convince the people that voted for him that, you know what, my leader or my boss is the bad one, I'm the good one. You cannot separate Uhuru and Ruto. They are conjoined at the hip. And therefore, the successes of Uhuru are the successes of Ruto. The failure of Uhuru are the failure of Ruto. But today, the deputy president wants to take glory in the successes of Uhuru, while himself, he has taken the baton and is running backwards. We must call it what it is. And without prejudice, the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya was once the darling of the Uruto government. But the moment he demonstrated that these projects that he was sent to go and open by his boss, the president of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, that is when the problem started. Today, the revelation by Matiang'i shows that he is one of the people that can be facilitated to do most of these jobs. Why is he not doing them? Because he is hosting delegations after delegations at Karen because he's ambitious. He wants to be the president while there's still a sitting president. That is insubordination.
All right. Willie.
Allow me to respond to
respond to what you said.
Here.
Has he been pushed to the corner that he can't
He was pushed to the corner. When we say that when he was opening the projects, people were very happy seeing him around. And so these people who have everything against him being the president of this nation started fighting him. They started saying he's a flower girl in Jubilee government. He says he has no role in the government. And so they exonerated him from all failures of Jubilee government. We didn't know that. They brought it to light. And so when he was kept in the cold, he agreed to go into the cold. And the beauty now is that he's still the most popular candidate because the people of this great republic says, if we cannot see you on ground, we will come to where you are. And that is why he's having visitors from all across this country visiting him in Karen, because they cannot see him on ground, because there was a deliberate effort to make sure that he's not opening projects on ground which were deemed to make him more popular. And when you say that he's not the popular candidate in Kenya today, you must be very factual when you're saying that, because he's the most popular candidate.
We don't have the numbers.
You know something?
Nobody can really tell.
Election, not yet. In fact,
I like it when you say that it's not yet. There's only one way to find out.
Somebody would petition the deputy president. Why is he campaigning and the election campaign time is not yet?
He's even yet to start campaigning.
There is no opinion poll that has put him ahead versus the others? Because that opinion poll
I can pull a few
only
for you, my brother.
those are the ones that they do in Karen. There's none.
No,
no one has declared other than the deputy president that is running. Because the other people that have declared, those are curtain raisers. Real candidates that are going to declare have not declared. So for me,
I'm wondering why is the word real? I mean, for me, buying your
we know Raila is running for president. You know Jimmy Wanjigi is running for president.
They have
I don't know whether
that.
your candidate is running for president.
They have said that.
Let him come and tell us.
They have said that.
Allow him.
They have said that they're running. But Ruto told us that he has only one competitor. So I'm basing my argument on the facts that Ruto told us. He said he has only one competitor. So his competitor that he told us has not declared. So you cannot say, or you cannot tell supporters to come on a national TV, national broadcaster, and tell 45 million Kenyans that he is ahead, while your candidate who told Kenyans, the 45 million of them, that his main competitor has not declared.
And
so for me, I would want to put the uncertainty in all this is his own making. Is his own making because he went ahead and declared his ambitions before the time. You know, too much ambition is dangerous, and too little also takes you nowhere. But he didn't have the time to balance. I want to advise the deputy president for free that with all this, with the support that he thinks he's getting, that support will be nothing if the support is not balanced with the work of delivery that he promised Kenyans. What he must do now, the people of Kenya are suffering. The hustlers that he says are supporting him are suffering. What is he doing to ensure that he secure the lives of hustlers now, not next year? What is he doing to ensure that our mothers who are giving birth without Medicare are getting that now? Because he is in government. If he was somebody who is not in government, we would forgive him. But he's right there.
All right.
Do this now.
Well said, Fred. Before you come in, Willie, I'll ask you two questions. And picking up from what Fred has said, you've mentioned that, you know, the deputy president kind of was left helpless for a very long time after he was pushed to the corner and he couldn't do much, from what I understand. Does it mean then that the 9 years are just wasted like that? We didn't have a deputy president, that he was not in a position to be our deputy president and serve us in that capacity? And also, if he felt that way, if he felt sidelined, if he felt like he's not doing what he was called here to do, what was stopping the DP from just walking out? And
let's do this, let's break the 9 years you're talking about in the two terms that have made the 9 years. We can start by saying the first term was very okay for everybody, for the government and for the people of this country. Economy-wise, we were doing well. Politically, we were doing very well. Until after 2017, when they knew there was no any other way but for William Ruto to be the next president, they started fighting him. And one of the things, there was a very deliberate action that took this country economy on a nosedive, politically, even on matters economy. And so what happened is, after 2017, instead of the government focusing on their big four agenda, which was an economic agenda by them for this nation, they stopped so that they could fight the deputy president by changing the constitution of this country. I will tell you how. I will explain to you.
I want to understand how the change in the constitution was a war against
a whole government stopped the big four agenda and started changing the constitution and baptized it and called it BBI. And so when the government diverted from the economic activities of the big four, automatically the economy took a nosedive. And that is why he is comfortably saying that the people of Kenya are suffering. And I wish that the whole government concentrated on the big four agenda for the sake of this nation and for the sake of the legacy of the president of this nation. And so when the High Court declares and says that BBI is a null and a void document, it sends now the whole Jubilee government in a panic mode. We have wasted 4 years trying to push this thing down the throat of the people, and it has flopped. What do we show for the last 4 years? Let me finish, my brother. So what do we show for the last 4 years? We must make sure that William Ruto takes the blame.
Is all this around the DP? Is it like a tug of war? Do you agree with these sentiments about even the coming up?
Is the agenda of the BBI? And you know, when you are presenting a scripted presentation, you are likely to make mistakes. He has made a mistake, and the mistake he has made a mistake to believe that the constitutional amendment was about putting aside the government agenda and bringing in an individual agenda. I don't have those facts, but the facts I have, when I listened to the president, he said this project, he consulted everyone. And I don't want to go there. I want to go to the issue you have asked. These issues of deputy president are not far from the truth. The truth of the matter is, his supporters, like my brother seated with me here, have agreed that he's a very ambitious man who can go even to an extent of insubordinating his boss to be where he wants to be. His supporters here have agreed that he is the only person now who should be campaigning and deliver the people of Kenya from the problems because he is popular. His supporter here has told us this morning or this afternoon that it is only deputy president who can go anywhere and the entire government is against him. But let me tell you the truth. The truth of the matter is, when you are in a government and the second in command and the constitution demands of you to assist your government to deliver and secure the lives of the people, and you have failed, then that same government must look for alternative friends to help them do that. That is what the president has done. Lastly, we have seen, he has said that people now go to him where he is because he has been not allowed to go where the people are. Yes. That is not the truth. No one has denied his rights in chapter 4. He can move wherever. In fact, if there's one person who moves and worships in every church, me, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. The other day I saw him in a Seventh-day Adventist church, and I've been seeing him all over worshiping. Who has denied Ruto from going to worship? He does that. He does that even in the wake of COVID. He has been doing that. When the pandemic is finishing everyone, and the supporter here cannot tell us that now. Just hold on. Just hold on. The supporter here cannot tell us that that is wrong. But that is not the issue. Serfine, I know we don't have a lot of time. I want to ask the people of Kenya today that we are going to vote on 9th of August next year. When we shall be casting that ballot, we must remember that there are also certain individuals in this country who are in a position to help us when they had the opportunity to help us. They failed. Why should we give them another opportunity to fail us again? And that's why for us in Third Way, we are putting our house in order. And we are saying that we are going to face this election a united party, a united team, and we shall be presenting our party leader so that he can also go and compete and tell people that we have this alternative, not
so
the alternative
he's
that
also
we have
vying?
been saying. Yes, Dr. Okot is vying.
So you, no. We have to go back to that because I've asked Fred this question severally. So let's make this categorical and clear. So Dr. Ekuru Okot,
he's getting better now.
Should we start this interview?
Let's start the interview.
He's on the ballot. He's going to be vying.
You know, Serfine,
you're not joining another.
What we said earlier, and I want to clarify issues. What we said earlier, initially, we had issues in the party, and we said we are not going to field. But after looking at this, and after talking to our partners, and after talking among ourselves, we have realized that indeed it was a mistake not to say that we are not fielding. We are fielding a candidate, and we are going to field Dr. Ekuru Okot to run. You know why? Because he understands the issues that Kenyans are undergoing, because he understands where the shoe pinches the Kenyans, because he understands why we need another person who is not the mainstream to run and go and fail us again. That's why I was asking him, if his supporters know very well that their candidate has been undergoing all these huge problems that are self-inflicted, why would they suffocate Kenyans again with the same candidate to go and midway he will abandon his deputy? If he manages to be the president, he will abandon his deputy. We cannot take chances anymore. Third Way Alliance Kenya has said because we stand for the rule of law, because we stand for, strength and devolution, because we stand for ensuring that we have women in position of power and ensuring that women and youth take over government. We are going for this election, and we shall ensure that Kenyans are not taken for granted.
I don't want us to eat into the time of the Swahili program, but very quickly, Willie, your quick reactions. You seem excited about the news that Dr. Ekuro Okot.
Yes. I knew the passion. If the passion of fighting the deputy president is coming from somewhere, when I say by fighting the deputy president, I mean that you have to cook all this manner of lies that he started fighting the president, or he has been a part of the government. I knew it was coming from somewhere, and it is very allowed. And that's why when you see people, irrelevant people like Raphael Tuju, for them to politically survive, they have to pick up a fight with the deputy president. And it is the same thing we are saying. Now that the big four, or rather the BBI agenda has flopped, now the government is in a panic mode, and it must look for a scapegoat and someone to blame. And who is that? It has to blame it on William Ruto. You started fighting the president. You are the reason we are here. And what if BBI would... Let me finish, my brother. Let me finish. And so they have to pick William Ruto as the scapegoat, and it is a deliberate effort to make sure that they blame William Ruto. You are the reason why the economy of this nation has collapsed.
Thank you so much for creating
just one, if you allow me. Party politics aside,
very quickly,
we must respect the government that we serve in. If you are a state officer, William Ruto must respect the president. He must respect the people of Kenya. He must also allow the president to assign him duty as per the constitution. He must not assign himself duty. But the constitution also requires him to be assistant, the principal to the president. He has failed. He took the baton, is running backward with 257 police officers around him, and is not securing the lives of Kenya. He's securing himself and his ambition for 2022. That must stop.
Is he doing it outside law?
Allow me to wind up.
Yes.
We cannot always conclude when it comes to political issues.
True.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. These are thoughts by Fred Okango and Willie Kamau. Of course, not the position of the station. This is what they think about what the politics of the day is. And on that note, we come to the end of our interview and discussion this morning. Thank you so much for creating time to talk matters politics and matters COVID-19. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you. All right. And now we want to pave way for the Swahili team to take it over from here. We are going to be having Kurunzi Mashinani, and then later Tamrini. Gladys Mungai is already on standby for that, so stay for that and much more. My name is Serfine Achieng Oma, and our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. Have a good one.
Kupata baba anakuja kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 *967 hash.
Nenda napiga. Nenda napiga. Mimi sijapotea. Niko tu hapa. Mimi niko hapa kwa kuna mimi niko nakuja. Don't mind. Wacha hata usikate simu yako. Mimi ndio hii nimefika, hata angalia.
Kupata baba anakuja kama skiza tune, bonyeza *811 *967 hash. *811 *967 hash.
Timbi na Timbelio.
Mambo vipi watu wangu? Mama